Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/my butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out. And let's dive straight into today's first story. Now, today's first story does come with an update from Measurement Even 1633 titled, "Am I the arsehole for telling a coworker to mind her effing business?" Hello, new here, and please know that English is not my first language. So I'll give some background so people can try and understand why I had this outburst. I am a first generation immigrant and have no family left in the States. My favourite uncle was deported in 2009. My mother was deported in 2011 and I lost both my grandparents in 2012, almost back to back. I have no contact with some extended family and I moved to a different state where I only have my partner. I work for a grocery store and I keep to myself most of the time, but as of recently I've become close with one of the other store greeters. Let's call her Susie. She is a 72-year-old woman. I can say is a hard worker and a kind person. During my breaks, she started to talk to me. Me and everyone at work know a lot about her because she likes to talk a lot, but I think it's because she's lonely. Okay, I'll just move forward to the issues that happened. Susie is a widower that due to fertility issues did not have any children, but she has cats. Their names are Willie and Bill, and she refers to said cats as her boys. I myself have 2 cats and I refer to them as my girls. Susie and I bonded over this and we talk a lot about our cats, and I even sometimes go over to her home to help clean up and wash her litter boxes every 2 to 3 weeks. Anyway, we have a coworker, we'll call her Karen. She is the boss's minion. She thinks she can boss us around and is pretty annoying, to be honest. So the other day Karen heard us talking about how Susie is taking her boys to the vet and I was going over possibly joining her or my partner. Karen butted in really loud. "I didn't know you guys had playdates for kids." She knows Susie doesn't have any kids. My guess is she was being nosy. Susie, being the angel she is, responded, "Oh, we do. We have playdates with our fur babies." Karen's face changed and she looked mad. "Animals aren't kids," she said, super rude, and it made me and Susie uncomfortable. Susie tried to laugh off the tension, saying something along the lines of, "to each our own," but Karen kept going at it. She scolded us, told us how inhumane it was for us to compare children to animals. Went on and on about how she has a cousin that lost a baby and couldn't imagine hearing someone like us call animals children. I was getting fed up because Susie looked like she was going to cry. Then Karen said, "But I guess I shouldn't expect someone who can't have their own kids to understand." To say I was shocked she said that is an understatement. Susie looked crushed and I snapped, "Karen, why don't you mind your fucking business?" Karen huffed and puffed how she was going to tell the manager what I said to her, but I don't care. Susie ended up taking the day off after that and requested time off, and I know I will have disciplinary actions for what I did. But am I the arsehole? Now this is absolutely not the arsehole to me, and I would have probably said something similar to Opie in this situation as well. But I would maybe dive in on the fact that she's the one who's bullying in this situation before you get pulled up with disciplinary action that you're worried about, because she's the one who's bullying in this situation. She's the one that's creating that hostile work environment. So absolutely not the arsehole to me. But before we go to the update, Jericho says, "Tell HR and the supervisor about how she was bullying a widow who couldn't have children about her cats." By the way, not the arsehole. JJ Anthrax says not the arsehole, and you should get to HR before she does, because bringing up someone's infertility in a nasty way is bullying, and no way is that allowed in the workplace. Tiger Lily Kitty says not the arsehole, she can F off with that holier than thou attitude and keep her nose out of other people's business. She butted into a conversation she wasn't welcome in, got all judgy and shitty, and then shamed a child-free person. SF says not the arsehole, Karen crossed the line several times. She went from insensitive to bullying in pretty short order. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. That said, you may face professional repercussions. You should absolutely inform management of the conflict as well. It's good practice to ask for their help in resolving issues like this. Fortunately, you have Susie as a witness and can make it clear that Karen was being a huge jerk. It won't be just your word over Karen's. And I wonder if OP is going to go to HR in the update, but let's head on over there right now to find out. So update. Hello dears, I just wanted to update my post I made about my dear friend Susie and an annoying coworker. I was let go by this employer, and to be quite honest, it was a blessing in disguise. I was treated very poorly after I got HR involved at the advice of many of this thread. I had a bad feeling if I did that, I was going to be bullied relentlessly because the HR we have is not a normal one. It's what is called a partnered HR, and they are about the employer and saving their company and not caring about the employees. I had spoken with Susie, who at first was apprehensive about escalating the situation, but I told her I was going to do it on our behalf, and before I knew it, I was literally picked on afterwards. It's okay though, I was let go and Susie quit right after, and I'm helping her right now, cleaning her house and cooking for her as well. I thankfully do not need money. My partner and I knew something like this would happen if I took matters to HR, so they are working OT at the moment, and Susie, being the angel she is, has helped me when needed, which is why I'm doing all the housework to repay her for the help she gave me this past month. She also opened up about her husband, who was an expert in the field of work I am very interested in, and she has actually spoken with many of her late husband's friends, and I have a chance to work my dream job. I am thankful for everyone who told me I did well for standing up for my friend. She is amazing. I do not regret what happened. We also spent holidays together, and my friend Susie looks a lot happier since leaving that toxic place. So again, thank you for all your time. I really appreciate it. And I remember people taught me a hard lesson a few months back on this channel. I always like to be educated if I get stuff wrong. I think it's really important. But I'm going to pick a comment which explains it, I think, from Pomegranate Real 3620, who says, HR is not and has never been about helping employees. Their primary function is to manage personnel information and mediate. If you want to have more success in going to HR, you need to approach with a problem and why they should care about your side. Karen in the original story was engaging in harassment, persistent unwanted interaction after she was told to back off. In this case, you tell HR that you feel this person's behavior makes you feel uncomfortable to work with and that she is harassing you. Now it's the company's problem because you have a claim to sue the company for failing to follow through on a complaint of workplace harassment. Make them aware that failing to take your complaint seriously is more of a risk than letting Karen go off on some unhinged rant. This is from 10 plus years of HR experience. And then there is many comments about talking, HR is there to save the company more than anything. But the way the company treated OP in this situation left me with a sour taste after this post, but it was picked up slightly with the way that she treats her friend Susie, which I think is a wonderful thing, and I hope it continues into the future. But anyway, let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwaway Open, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my wife's family our secret? I, 28 male, have been with my wife Rebecca, 29 female, for 4 years. Rebecca comes from a very religious family, and we have hidden a lot of aspects about our marriage. We have some contact with them and only see them on holidays and special occasions, like weddings or baby showers. One of the biggest things they disapprove of was not having our wedding in a church. It was a big deal that we now hide aspects of our marriage, like the fact we are going to be child-free. One thing that family does not know about is that Rebecca and I have an open marriage and have had an open relationship ever since we started dating. So I was meeting up with another girl at a bar a few days ago. It was going well and I didn't notice anything strange. Well, today we went to Rebecca's sister's baby shower. The large baby shower was cancelled since the plague, so it really was dinner with her family. We get there and everyone is glaring daggers at me. The whole thing is tense until we get to a slideshow on her sister showing pictures of the nursery and other baby stuff. In the slideshow, there was a picture of me with a girl at the bar. It wasn't an innocent picture, and looking at it, everyone would think I was cheating. The whole family starts yelling at me and calling me a cheater, and how dare I do this to Rebecca. I look at Rebecca for help, but she just stays quiet. I try to get them to calm down, but nothing is working. So I just yell out, Rebecca and I have an open marriage. This causes everyone to start freaking out even more, and we quickly leave. I'm in the car with Rebecca and she starts to yell at me about how could I tell her family that that I completely betrayed her trust, and this is probably going to ruin her relationship with the family. I'm angry now and say, so what? You would rather make me out to be a cheater than tell the truth. The argument continues for the rest of the car ride, and she won't talk to me anymore. I am sleeping on the couch. Holy moly times 2. Now, I assume that the sister was intentionally trying to show you up by having this picture in the middle of this slideshow. Sort of like, we got you now, you little bastard. Or something along those lines. Maybe not quite that dramatic, but certainly trying to make a spectacle of the moment. And if he was cheating and the whole open relationship thing wasn't there, she would have called this out in front of her sister without talking to her first. Holy moly. And I just wonder what the alternative to the situation was. What could he have said to get out of this? If the photo itself wasn't innocent, then what could you have said? Not like you could have said it was a work colleague or something like that. So you meant that you'd just be tagged for the rest of your relationship with her if it was to continue or whatever was happening, that you're a cheater from now on. I don't get it. But Judge Judd, am I the arsehole, says, "Hoo boy, I was primed to write you're the arsehole, but no, not the arsehole. Your wife was perfectly willing to throw you under the bus, and that should put her on the couch, not you." Silence 9 says, "Damn, sister-in-law thought she had you. I could only imagine they're plotting and scheming before you all arrived. Not the arsehole. ETA, your wife is the arsehole though." Dumbest man ever says, "Not the arsehole. First off, her family inserted a picture of you and your significant other into a baby shower slideshow, before even addressing your wife. That is next level effed up. The family set you up for full-on shaming and ridicule at a baby shower. It's one thing to confront you one-on-one, quite another to publicly shame you like that. So F her family. On your wife, I get it. She panicked, didn't know how to respond, and didn't want the angry mob of assholes to turn on her. But there is no way, if I were her, after the initial shock, that I would ever leave my wife to be pilloried and shamed by my family. Nope, certainly wouldn't be making her couch surf either. She messed up big time. You are so not the arsehole. Her family wins that dishonor, and she's right behind them." Fuzzy Ad says, "Your wife would rather you look like an awful cheater than to tell the truth to her family. That is messed up." And I'm a full ass human says, "This is all around bad news. If you're trying to keep this a secret from her family, no judgment there, you gotta be more careful. Maybe meet your dates further out of town or go at an odd hour. You're not the arsehole though. It was super shitty of her not to stick up for you." OP replied to that one saying, "We really thought we were safe since we live in the city and our whole family has a problem with alcohol since it's the devil's juice. Truly thought we were safe." Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Throwaway Work Cheat 65, who says, "Am I the arsehole for having my husband fired? Can't believe I'm posting here, but here I go. I, 29 female, have an ex, 34 male, Richard. It's been 3 years since we separated due to him being abusive and cheating. But we are not divorced as divorce is expensive in my country, and whenever I apply for divorce, Richard insists on mediation, so divorce is not granted as one of us tries to save the marriage. He lives with his mistress and they have a kid together that was conceived when we were still together. Due to both of them harassing and abusing me, I have a restraining order against both of them. My employer is aware of all of this as the utility company my ex works for supplies the buildings their offices are at, one of the major suppliers in the country. Now to the actual events. Due to restrictions, everyone is currently working from home with a few days in the office. Richard decided to show up at my work with his kid and demanded to see me for child support money since we are still legally married. As my employer is aware of the situation, the reception refused to tell him if I'm in the office or not. I was, and asked Richard to leave. Richard did not, and security was called. As he was with his child, security couldn't force to remove Richard, so reception threatened to call the utility company he works for. Richard didn't believe the reception can do it, so long story short, him and his mistress were fired with immediate effect, as Richard showing up at my work has been seen as gross misconduct, and they discovered Richard was his mistress' boss. Apparently his employer didn't know they were together, and it's strictly forbidden to have a relationship with someone who is directly employed by you. The utility company apologized for Richard's actions and gave a considerable discount for their services to make sure the news of what happened wouldn't spread. Since they were fired, I'm getting calls from unknown numbers of various Richard/his mistress's family members and friends saying I'm responsible for it and just a jealous arsehole for getting him fired to get Richard back. We still have some friends in common, and they believe him getting fired and losing the only source of income they have is too harsh, and I should have prevented that and shouldn't have spoken in the beginning about what happened. Am I the arsehole? And there's a couple of edits which we're going to cover in a second, but is he trying to get child support for his mistress's child? What the hell? What the hell, man? I mean, if I've just read that right, then you're absolutely not going to be the arsehole whatsoever. Imagine being that person, you've cheated on your partner, you've had a child with someone else, and you think you can still claim money just because you're legally married for child support. Just try and have that mentality for a couple of seconds. It's just so weird. But edit. Just not to repeat myself in the comments, his family believes it's okay to have several partners and be responsible for kids even if they are from an affair. And according to our friends in common, he spreads a lie that I couldn't get pregnant. I don't want and never wanted kids, so his mistress helped us with that, but then I overreacted and called it cheating. So we had to stay with her to support the kid. It's the same as what he pulled in the court when we were getting divorced alongside with his I still love her and should have communicated better lies. So the court wouldn't grant a divorce as they believe he is trying to save the marriage and I'm being unreasonable. Edit 2. Thank you for the support. I'm getting a bit overwhelmed trying to reply to everyone, but just want to point out a few things. His family beliefs are not normal for the country, and I'm pretty sure they change if the situation would be the other way around. My boss is also incredibly frustrated with the situation, so he gave me contacts of his friends who happens to be a family lawyer, who agreed to help me out at a discounted rate, as he owes my boss a few favors. He sees why courts take that long and will try his best to make sure divorce is granted. He also works as a no-win, no-fee and believes we can win the case and get Richard to cover outstanding fees. And most importantly, no, I have not been paying child support to him and was not instructed to. The bit of claiming the child is mine as his mistress is a surrogate can be a bit complicated, but Mr. Lawyer, who I now owe a beer, said courts can't make me pay or accept it since there's no evidence of any agreement. Gee whiz, holy moly. Time to go and pound some sand and kick some rocks, but Sleepless Era says, oh dear, this better be a joke. He asked you for child support for his adultery kid. What the fuck, in case this is real? Not the arsehole. To which OP replies saying him and his family believes if the child was conceived in marriage, the other party should accept them even if it's from adultery. They also had a go at me for separating with him due to cheating, because in their eyes it's okay to be with several people. Chimpanzee Clowncar says, a guy you have a restraining order against showed up at your job, made a scene and got fired. You're obviously not the arsehole here. To which Bad Wolf replies saying, this is absolutely the consequence of his own actions. It doesn't seem like OP called anyone herself, and even if she did, I'd still vote not the arsehole. I feel awful for her. She must have been put through a lot in that relationship for thinking even for a second this is her fault, and unfortunately it's not over for her yet. Hope she's able to completely get away from this guy. Fast77 says not the arsehole. It doesn't even sound like you had a role in any of this, like it went down with you unaware even. OP replied saying, I was informed he was in the office building by my manager as he had a meeting not too far from the reception. He knew about the situation as he gave me a lot of time off to recover from the breakup a few years back and made sure I'm okay. He knows my reaction on Richard and that his presence generally makes me feel terrified. I assume Richard possibly heard some of the staff members saying I'm in the office as they were passing by, since it seems rather strange that he knew when to show up. And Nikito says not the arsehole. Richard got Richard fired for being an idiot. Why the hell would you even be paying child support for a kid that is not even yours? How did this even make sense in his head? Ridiculous. Hey honey, I cheated on you. It's your responsibility to now support the baby I had with another woman. Insert eye roll here. The logic from that man, I just don't get it. Let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments below, and we're going to move on to another story. And our next story comes from Particular Willow17, who asks, am I the arsehole for telling my wife that she should stop constantly expecting appreciation and just get on with her job of being a stay-at-home mum? I, 36 male, work full time, and my wife, 32 female, is a stay-at-home mum looking after our 2-year-old twins. When we got married, we both agreed that my wife would be a stay-at-home mum, especially since we don't have any family or grandparents nearby. We were both in agreement, and my wife made it clear she wanted to enjoy seeing our kids grow up. We don't plan on having any more. I make a good wage, so we are comfortable. I don't give my wife any spending limits. Obviously, we discuss big purchases, so she is free to buy herself things. I make sure she has access to money, and she takes care of everything around the house. I work from home, and a typical day for me is 7 AM to 5 PM. Once I finish work, I go spend time with the twins while my wife makes dinner. We put them to bed together, and my wife usually clears up in the kitchen. She is great at her job, and the house is spotless. I'm happy with this arrangement, and I thought my wife was too. Recently, she's been coming to me and saying that she feels burned out, unappreciated, and taken for granted. I asked if I could do anything to help, and she said that it would be nice if I did something now and again to show that I appreciated her, e.g. buying her favourite bar of chocolate when I go to the shop or something small, just as a gesture of appreciation. I'll admit that I didn't do this, purely because I am not in the habit, to be honest. We recently had a massive argument because my wife got completely fed up with being treated like a servant. She basically said that her working hours are 5 AM till 9 PM, 7 days a week, and that she feels like I take her for granted. I told her that I understand it's a tough job, but we both get on with our respective roles. I never asked her to thank me for making money. I think that's cringeworthy. I get on with my job because I have to provide for my family, where she wants presents and treats for doing her job. I essentially said this to her, and now I'm wondering if I'm the arsehole. Looking after kids in the house is tiring, and she does work hard and takes care of everything. But at the same time, do I need to thank her on bended knee and buy her things just for doing her job? Am I the arsehole? And there is a little edit in response to some of the comments. But we're going to start with Temporary Badger, who says, "You're the asshole. Jesus Christ, it's really too much to ask occasionally buy your wife a bar of chocolate or say thank you. It sounds like she is working harder than you, but that isn't even the point. Appreciating her and showing her that you love her is part of being a decent husband. If you are a robot who doesn't need appreciation, that doesn't mean she has to be too." Rack 1882 says, "You're the asshole. It's amazing. It's like your wife wants to be treated like a wife and partner, instead of an incubator, nanny and housekeeper. Your wife is telling explicitly what she needs. She needs you to show her that she's appreciated. You are told, in a variety of ways at your job, that you are appreciated, I have no doubt. Your wife expecting that low bar to be met is reasonable." Big Dick Slap says, "What a name. You're the arsehole. Correction, her hours are not 5 AM to 9 PM, her hours are 24/7. You don't get a break from being a mum, and you seem to not realise how exhausting it actually is. As a stay-at-home mum myself, let me tell you something. A lack of appreciation equals a lack of intimacy. I pack my SO's lunch, I get a thank you. He sees me doing laundry or dishes, he says thank you. Is it every single time? No, but it's enough that I know, hey, he actually does appreciate what I do for him, and guess what? When I feel appreciated and cared for, it makes me want to do more for him. Why can't you run her a hot bubble bath? Why can't you get her a snack or flowers? Why can't you do the dishes or cook every once in a while? She keeps the house spotless, so when you come home you can relax and not lift a finger. When does she get a break? Does she ever get to sleep in? Does she get even an hour alone a day? Thank you for the awards, just for saying what should be common sense." And one more from Rorank, who says, "Yikes, you're going to get ripped apart on the sub for this, and I'm going to contribute to that. First of all, why is it such a bad thing to appreciate your fucking wife? She's not asking for you to do anything that would take more than 10 minutes extra for you. Why are you married to someone that you're so against going out of your way for? Moving on, it seems like you are looking at this exceptionally defensively. She's not telling you that you're a terrible husband and father for not appreciating her. She's asking for you to do something small for her once in a while. The only reason this is a problem is because you think that you shouldn't have to go the extra mile for her. I'd ask again, why would you marry someone who you would not go an extra mile for? You're the arsehole." And before we finish up, the little edit said, "Okay, you can all stop tearing me a new arsehole. I get it. I do get to relax at the weekend, whereas my wife usually does her normal routine and gets on top of all the cleaning, etc. Just for the record, I do thank her for everything she does. I say thank you all the time, but I understand that this may not be her love language." And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes with me today, getting involved in today's stories. You know it means the absolute world to me every single time you do. I'm incredibly appreciative of it all, so thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.